Guys, welcome back to my channel, Everyday Homeschooler, where we chat about education, homemaking, and everyday life. In my last video, I mentioned that we use SpellingYouSee. So today I'm going to share my first of several reviews about the program. Over the years, I've been frustrated with many of the SpellingYouSee video reviews out there. Too often, the SpellingYouSee philosophy will be misrepresented as people demonstrate how to use the curriculum wrongly. For instance, sometimes people will skip entire portions of the program with their children, like chunking or asking their child to read the passage back to them out loud. Sometimes they will focus on the wrong things, and instead of focusing on spelling, will stringently enforce handwriting instead. Some will even claim that SpellingYouSee can be done completely independently by their children with very little instructor or parent involvement. Now, I don't think anyone is purposefully trying to misrepresent SpellingYouSee. I think it is just coming from a lack of reading the instructor's handbook thoroughly cover to cover. Another thing that I found frustrating is that oftentimes many of the reviews will cover SpellingYouSee as an entire program rather than one level at a time. So go ahead and grab a cup of coffee, because today I am going to review and go through SpellingYouSee Listen and Write Level A. This is our 6th year using SpellingYouSee, and I am beginning it with my 3rd child, who is currently in kindergarten and 6 years old. I actually heard about the curriculum from its author, Dr. Karen Halinga. She lives locally to us, and we actually have her do our assessments with our children that are required annually by our state. If you go to the SpellingYouSee website, you will quickly see that SpellingYouSee is very different from any other spelling curriculum out there. There are no tests, no word lists to memorize, and it is not age or grade level based. This program focuses in on copy work, dictation, and definitely has a Charlotte Mason feel and style to it. I'm going to go into detail about this later, but SpellingYouSee is very encouragement based. You don't go through and mark words that your child spells wrong with a red pen. Instead, you go through and cheer your child on for all of the things that they spell correctly. Another practical item that makes SpellingYouSee different is that it utilizes letter boxes as well as a 2-lined handwriting approach, very similar to handwriting without tears. The SpellingYouSee philosophy comes at spelling from a different angle. It focuses on the stages of spelling and your child's brain development as they are processing and developing their spelling skills, rather than what age or what grade they are in. For Listen and Write, it is honed in and focused on children who are leaving the pre-literate stage and entering the phonetic stage of spelling. I could go on and on about what makes SpellingYouSee such a unique and different curriculum, but I would definitely recommend to just head over to their website to check out more detail. The universal set of SpellingYouSee comes with a student workbook, an instructor's handbook or teacher's guide, a guide to handwriting, which again focuses in on that 2-lined handwriting approach, as well as several sheets of really fun stickers that match several of the illustrations in the curriculum. The cost of the universal set is $41. When your child begins Level A, Listen and Write, they will start by first focusing on making sure that they have a correct pencil grip and that they are doing good letter formations, focusing on doing single stroke letters whenever possible. They will start by spelling 3-letter words where the short vowel sound is given, and they are having to come up with the beginning and ending sounds. By the end of the curriculum, they will be spelling 4 and 5 letter words, but again, only with those short vowel sounds. There are 36 lessons in the curriculum, each taking 5 days each. Each lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes per day. Okay, so let's start with the instructor's handbook, which is essentially the teacher's guide. I have mine hole punched just because I like to put it in a 3-ring binder, but it normally does not come with the hole punches. Here is the table of contents, and as you can see, there are 36 lessons. We then have information about the SpellingYouSee philosophy and the different stages of spelling. As you can see, I use my instruction manual a lot as it is highlighted and has some notes in it. This next section is a lesson-by-lesson guide that provides you notes about what you will be focusing on each week with your child. Lastly, here are the dictation lists for each lesson, as well as some additional lists in the back just for your reference or extra practice. Now we will move on to the student workbook. In the first few lessons, you will focus on letter formation, as well as 3-letter words where the short vowel sound is provided. A few lessons later, your child will have to come up with these short vowel sounds on their own. In later lessons, you will be dictating 4 and 5-letter words. However, these will always contain the short vowel sounds. Here is the guide to handwriting that focuses on that 2-lined letter formation. Lastly, here are the stickers that come with the curriculum. They match many of the illustrations in the book. Okay, so now I'm going to invite you to do a lesson with us. My daughter Mariah is 6 and is in kindergarten, and she is about 10 lessons into the book. As we sit and do this lesson together, I'm going to narrate some tips and just some tricks I've learned over the years after using this curriculum 3 times. Before you begin, listen and write, I would first advise for you to make sure that your child is ready. Make sure that they are ready to enter that phonetic stage of spelling. They should know most of their letter sounds and should be able to write and form most of them without too much assistance. So before you sit down, I would first tell you to go ahead and gather all of your materials. Get out your instructor's guide, get out your child's student workbook, and grab that handwriting guide. I also make sure I always have my stickers available. What I do is I always put out the handwriting guide where Mariah can easily see it. This allows her to reference it if she ever has a doubt or a thought in her brain about how to make that letter G or which direction a C goes. She can quickly just look at that handwriting guide and get right back to the spelling of her words rather than focusing on what the letter looks like. I would encourage you to sit shoulder to shoulder with your child rather than hovering over top of them. SpellingYouSee is meant to be a teamwork curriculum. Your first word, we're going to start right here. Are you ready for your first word? Okay, your first word is nod. Nod. N-A-D. Nod. Which letter says N? Yes, so let's start that right there. Nod. So say that letter as you write it. N. Nod. Great job. All right. You'll notice that as I am dictating words to Mariah, that I enunciate and go very slowly. I also offer her lots of help. Dr. Halinga emphasizes that you can never help your child too much. Always remember to have your child say the sound of each letter out loud as they write it. Don't be afraid to break down words into sounds for your child. For instance, wig, w-i-g. Really enunciate each of the sounds to help them identify which letter to write. I would encourage you to focus in on spelling, not handwriting. Dr. Halinga says that as long as the child's handwriting is legible, move on. Utilize a handwriting curriculum or other copywork time to focus in on handwriting. Use your SpellingYouSee time to focus completely on spelling. Once your child is finished writing all of their words, record how much time it took them. This should never take more than 10 minutes. Also, don't forget to have them read back each of the words slowly to you. This will help connect the encoding and decoding skills in their brain.
Tap.
Good. Always end your lesson on a positive note by letting your child pick a sticker or another reward. The most important thing I have found in each lesson is the conversation and dialogue that happens between me and my child. They learn more from these small teaching moments about correcting a word when they've accidentally put an E instead of an I than they do from drills or memorizing a list. Okay, let's talk pros and cons. First, let's do pros. SpellingYouSee is completely open and go. It takes no prep work, no planning. You just simply get out the materials and work for 10 to 15 minutes with each student every day. It is also encouragement based. There is no red pen marking things off or telling your child that they've spelled something wrong. Instead, you are your child's cheerleader, counting all of the things that they have done correctly and encouraging them to change the things that they got wrong to make them correct. Another pro is that it pairs very nicely with handwriting without tears, with that two-lined handwriting technique. Honestly, my kids love SpellingYouSee because it is such a calm, relaxed, and encouraging environment. Even my children who struggle with spelling really enjoy SpellingYouSee. Okay, so let's talk cons. $41 per child per level can add up, especially if you have a big family. It is a little bit of a stretch to feel like you're spending that much money on just one subject. Okay, the last con I'm going to mention is the student workbook's binding. As you can see here, I have had this cut and had it spiral bound instead. Normally, SpellingYouSee books come just bound normally like a flat edge on a book. Well, this was frustrating for my kids because as they would sit down at the table and try to open their book and write, oftentimes their handwriting towards the center of the pages would turn out very sloppy. Having it cut and spiral bound would cost just a few dollars at my local copy store and enabled my kids to lay the book completely flat and not worry about their handwriting. Okay, so overall, I would definitely recommend SpellingYouSee Level A Listen and Write for kindergartners, first graders, or any child who is just brand new to spelling skills. The lessons each day are low pressure because there's nothing to memorize, no tests to study or cram for, and the entire environment is so encouragement based that it makes it a fun process for both the parent and the child.
Well, I like doing it with you. And I like doing it next to the kids. I like the pencil and stickers. I like looking at the stickers and saying the words I wrote. I love SpellingYouSee.
Okay guys, well I think that wraps things up for today. If you have any questions or thoughts about SpellingYouSee Level A, please leave a comment below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I am planning on doing more reviews about each level of SpellingYouSee, and I post new videos each week about education, homemaking, and everyday life.